Good morning, folks. Welcome to an OCC Queensland Daily Weather App. Today, the 15th of March, 2023. My name's Chris Nitzo. This update brought to you by TownsvilleSheds.com, our major sponsor. Check them out if you're in the market for a shed-safe, accredited shed. All right, we've got a couple of showers off the northeast Queensland coast, a couple of showers off the central east Queensland coast. Outside of that, there's not too much going on. A couple of showers also off the northeastern Cape Coast, and you can see significant storm activity up there in the northern parts of the Coral Sea. The big weather feature today coming across the state is this thing called an upper level trough. That upper level trough will push eastwards as the day goes on. Let's do an animation of that. Let's have a look at it. There he goes, there he goes, there he goes. Off the coast he goes overnight tonight, or tonight into the overnight hours, and then tomorrow he's offshore and stabilising the state. So the expectation today is quite a bit of instability still around. So that means that showers and thunderstorms are expected through parts of eastern Queensland today, and we can see that reflected in the instability chart here. This is a level or a measure of instability called the Showalter Index, and anything that's in the blue range tends to mean that we could see some isolated convection. Anything that starts to get into the greys and oranges starts to be some more significant and substantial storm activity. So you can see we're a chance there of picking up some showers and thunderstorms across much of eastern Queensland, particularly just inland of the coastline this afternoon, this evening, and we're also a pretty decent chance of picking up some showers and storms up there in far northern inland Queensland as well. If we were to target some hot spots of convection this afternoon, probably around the Cape region would be a hot spot of convection this arvo, and around this area here between Mackay and Townsville, just inland of the coast and the coastal ranges, would be a bit of a hot spot of convection. But look, there is a chance there at some isolated showers and possible thunderstorms anywhere in that blue region that we just saw, so don't be too surprised if you do see something that pops up in your neck of the woods. Just looking at the severe weather threat potential for this afternoon, there's just a slightly elevated severe weather threat risk just here around the southern parts of the Darling Downs and around the Scenic Rim Ranges. So there is an opportunity there maybe for one or two of these little cells in here that could just attain some stronger intensity compared to cells around them. Rainfall between now and tomorrow. This time tomorrow we can see significant showers and possible thunderstorms up in the northern Cape and through the Torres Strait. You can see this convective activity across far northern inland and northern inland Queensland, plus central eastern inland Queensland, and you can see that slight enhancement of weather in between St Lawrence and just south of Townsville, particularly just inland of the coast. But as I say, we can't totally rule out the idea that maybe a couple of showers and storms will impact the coastline. And further southwards you'll notice spotty, patchy activity, but as I mentioned, just around that border ranges area, just a slight increase in severe weather threat with those isolated storms as well. Winds today, pretty nice across most of the waters. Just be aware, Cape Melville to Cooktown, there's just a bit of an easterly or southeasterly wind enhancement just in that little patch of coastline there, and a bit of a northeasterly or northerly enhancement to the winds this evening and tonight across southeast Queensland. So just be aware of that if you are out on the waters. It's not much, but it will be a noticeable difference between 5 to 10 knots to the north and closer to 15 knots in the far southeastern parts. But overall, very nice wind conditions through most of the state. Unless you've been living under a weather rock, you will have noticed that there's been a potential for a bit of a low pressure system in the Coral Sea. We are watching that. Look, the next few days in this system are going to be pretty important as to what it does next week. So we really don't know how the next few days are going to operate in here, whether or not the system's going to tighten up, whether or not the system's going to have multiple circulations. All those things are going to factor into whether or not the system has a chance of coming onto the coast next week. So at this stage, the system over the next few days is going to do very little, except probably move to the south or southeast. So for now, it's not a big focus area. Next week, it might become one, especially if it does start to push westwards at a fairly sharp rate. So you can see there, at least until Friday, Saturday and Sunday, the system is still located way out in the eastern Coral Sea, even almost just outside the Coral Sea in some of the modelling. So at this stage, not a big issue. Next week, we'll revisit it. And we'll see if it becomes a bigger issue or it remains a non-issue. Also, we're looking at the possibility of a trough system forming through the Arafura Sea, the Torres Strait and the Gulf of Papua as we push into Sunday, Monday and Tuesday. And then we're looking for any low pressure development along that trough line as we go through. This is not a monsoon trough, but an equatorial trough that could result in the formation of a low pressure system next week as well. So there's a little bit to look at for next week, but for now, not something we're going to cover here. Join.ozcyclonechasers.com.au if you're interested in more of those long-term signals, and we talk about those in much more depth and detail about what's happening next week with those two systems. Head over there if you're interested. Thanks for supporting our work. Thanks for watching this video. I'll talk to you again tomorrow.